Most people think manifestation is a forward-moving path, a march from lack to fulfillment, a climb from desire to realization. But the truth is stranger, more elegant, and infinitely more powerful. Manifestation works backwards. It doesn't begin in your effort. It doesn't arise from your longing. It begins in completion, in the end state, in the already done reality that is whispering to you from beyond the veil of linear time. The reason backward manifestation is so potent is because it dissolves the illusion of distance. It doesn't pull you towards something. It collapses the gap and places you inside the outcome itself, right now. Every moment, your awareness is not pushing toward the future. Your awareness is broadcasting a signal into the quantum field, and that signal magnetizes a reality that already exists. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you keep spinning the dial toward the frequency of desire, you're caught in static, half on one station, half on another. But when you align with the frequency of already having, the music comes through clear, strong, undeniable. The station was always there. You didn't create it. You tuned to it. Here's the secret most people miss. The universe never responds to your words, your visualizations, or even your affirmations in isolation. It responds to the energy signature of your state of being. And when you declare, "I want," you are simultaneously declaring, "I don't have." You're signaling to the field that you exist in a timeline of absence. But when you shift into the identity of the one who already possesses, already embodies, already lives the outcome, your frequency changes. Suddenly the field mirrors not absence but completion. Backward manifestation is like walking into a theater where the play has already ended. You know the characters, you know the story, you know the resolution. Then, as you move back through the acts, every scene aligns itself with the ending you've already witnessed. You're no longer guessing where the story is going. You're living from the end, and because of that, everything in the middle organizes itself with mathematical precision to match it. Now notice what happens inside you when you imagine this. Your shoulders drop. The strain evaporates. The mental chatter that whispers how, when, where, begins to quiet. Why? Because the future is no longer uncertain. The ending is fixed. You're not walking toward it. You're walking out from it. This is the reversal of effort, the inversion of struggle, the shift that turns manifestation from a game of wishing into a practice of being. Here's something extraordinary. Quantum physics suggests that the future influences the present, just as much as the present influences the future. Retrocausality is not philosophy. It is physics. When you step into the end state, the outcome begins pulling the strings of the present, rearranging details, bending coincidences, aligning encounters, sculpting opportunities to deliver what you've already embodied. From the outside, it looks miraculous. From the inside, it feels inevitable. But embodiment isn't pretending. Pretending is flimsy. Hoping is brittle. Backward manifestation requires a deeper surrender, a radical certainty that dissolves the need to test, measure, or prove anything. When you know you are already inside the outcome, you stop negotiating with reality. You stop sending mixed signals. You stop asking the field to meet you halfway. Instead, you radiate coherence, and coherence is irresistible to the quantum field. Imagine you've stepped into the version of yourself who already lives the life you once longed for. Feel how that body breathes differently. Notice how that mind processes differently. Listen to the inner dialogue of that identity. It isn't filled with doubt. It isn't saturated with lack. It carries the tone of completion. This is the quantum key to broadcast from the consciousness of the end. The more vividly and consistently you inhabit this state, the faster the field collapses probabilities into your lived reality. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about forcing gratitude lists or forcing visualizations. Those are training wheels. The real art is stepping into the version of you who no longer needs to try. That self isn't asking for confirmation. That self isn't anxiously waiting for signs. That self is living the reality now. And because the quantum field mirrors whatever frequency you stabilize in, reality must follow. Think of it like a mirror in reverse. Normally you look into a mirror and see a reflection of what already is. But with quantum manifestation, the mirror reflects what you decide to be. The reflection doesn't lag behind your choice. It rearranges instantly, though your perception may catch the unfolding as if it's taking time. What's really happening is the timeline of your chosen reality pulling you into itself. reorganizing every step to confirm the ending you've already claimed. This is why those who master manifestation appear serene, detached, even unshakable. They aren't calm because they don't care. They're calm because they know. They're anchored in the ending so the middle can't unsettle them. They don't chase signs. They don't beg the universe. They emanate completion. And reality, obedient to coherence, delivers. Pause and consider, how many times have you delayed your manifestation by looking for proof it was working? How many times have you sabotaged yourself by peeking over the fence of your current reality and measuring its contrast to your desire? Every moment you do this, you're broadcasting lack. Backward manifestation erases this habit because when you live from the end, you stop needing evidence. The evidence is in your being. Here's an exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine stepping into a library so vast it seems endless. Every book on every shelf contains a version of your life already written. There's a book where you struggle, a book where you thrive, a book where you love deeply, a book where you wander lonely, a book where you awaken, a book where you forget. They're all real, all complete. You don't write a new book, you don't beg the library, you simply choose the book you want to live, and open its pages. Feel yourself holding it not as fantasy but as fact. Read a sentence. Feel the weight of inevitability. That's selection. That's alignment. That's the first step of backward manifestation. The moment you choose, the field reorganizes. Your thoughts begin to echo the identity of that chosen version. Your emotions begin to stabilize in its atmosphere. Your actions flow from its frequency without force. This isn't about adding effort to become someone new. It's about releasing the old frequency and stepping into the one that was always available. But let's be clear, this isn't gradual. Backward manifestation doesn't creep along in tiny increments. It leaps. One moment you are the one who longs. The next moment you are the one who embodies. That's why we call it a quantum leap. It isn't a staircase of steps. It's a collapse of distance. The instant you dissolve the gap, you arrive. And here's the paradox. The more you chase, the more it runs. The more you embody, the more it flows. Wanting keeps the outcome on the horizon. Being pulls the horizon into your present. When you truly select and embody, the old version of you simply dissolves. The timeline of struggle cannot coexist with the frequency of completion. One cancels the other. This is where most people falter. They choose with their minds, but continue broadcasting lack with their bodies. They affirm abundance while feeling scarcity in their gut. They visualize love while embodying loneliness in their chest. The field doesn't respond to words, it responds to coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and body all broadcast the same frequency, the result is inevitable. Backward manifestation is coherence made visible. The moment you stabilize in the end state, reality has no option but to comply. As you stabilize in this state of coherence, the quantum field begins arranging every element of your experience to match your frequency. Synchronicities multiply. People, opportunities, and resources flow into alignment effortlessly, not because you're striving, but because you are already in resonance with the outcome. The field does not negotiate with desire. It reflects certainty, and certainty is magnetic. It does not ask, it does not push, it pulls. Imagine walking through your day with this awareness. Every encounter, every choice, every event is not a trial or a test. It is a confirmation, a signal, a natural unfolding of your selected reality. The stranger who smiles at you, the opportunity that appears out of nowhere, the insight that arrives fully formed. These are not coincidences. They are evidence of your frequency calling the timeline into alignment. They are the universe arranging the details to mirror your inner state. Backward manifestation requires that you inhabit this state consistently, not sporadically. 1 hour of alignment surrounded by 23 hours of doubt won't collapse the probability waves. Coherence is cumulative. It is the frequency that matters, not the effort. Every thought that matches the end state strengthens the timeline. Every feeling that vibrates in resonance deepens the connection. Every action that flows naturally from this state reinforces the bridge between potential and reality. The practice is simple but profound. Live as if you have already arrived. Walk, speak, breathe, and perceive as the one who possesses the reality you desire. Notice the subtle shifts, the way your posture changes, the way your voice carries authority without effort, the way your attention gravitates naturally toward alignment rather than distraction. This is embodiment, not imagination. This is reality selection made conscious. As you dwell in this state, you will notice the old patterns begin to fade. Scarcity-driven thoughts that once dominated your mind no longer take root. Fear that once pulled you backward dissipates. The body, the mind, and the soul begin vibrating in synchrony with your chosen timeline. This is quantum integration, the point where the internal and external realities merge seamlessly, creating the impression that life itself has become easier, richer, and more alive. Here's a principle that separates true backward manifestation from ordinary desire. The field cannot distinguish between the reality you inhabit physically and the reality you inhabit in consciousness. Once your internal state is stabilized, external circumstances have no choice but to follow. The universe is not a puzzle to solve. It is a reflection to align with. Change the inner lens and the outer world bends effortlessly to the new angle of perception. At this point, waiting, hoping, and striving become obsolete. They belong to the timeline of lack. In the timeline of completion, your every thought, emotion, and action is a natural expression of what has already occurred. The linear concept of later dissolves. Time becomes a fluid instrument, responding to your frequency rather than dictating it. This is quantum time, the realm where the future collapses into the present as soon as you inhabit it fully. You may notice moments when old habits or external disruptions attempt to pull you back into a frequency of wanting. This is normal. These moments are not failures, they are the universe testing the stability of your embodiment. The difference between those who master backward manifestation and those who struggle is how they respond. A brief flash of doubt does not undo the alignment. It is simply a moment to observe, release, and return to coherence. As your embodiment deepens, you begin to experience what I call reality confirmation sequences. These are subtle, almost imperceptible signs that your timeline is solidifying. A conversation that provides exactly the information you need. A financial opportunity that appears at the perfect moment. A chance encounter that propels your goals forward. Notice these moments without judgment. They are not rewards. They are proof that your consciousness is shaping reality with precision. The next layer of mastery involves what I call quantum mobility. The ability to consciously navigate between timelines with fluidity. Once you understand that every possible reality exists simultaneously, you are no longer constrained by the notion that you must create something. Instead, you slide into the timeline where your desired reality already exists. This requires a level of inner flexibility and trust in the intelligence of consciousness. You do not wrestle with probabilities. You choose which frequency to inhabit, and the rest unfolds naturally. Quantum mobility is not theoretical. It is practical. Imagine you have been struggling with abundance. In one timeline, you continue to face limitations. In another, you live as someone who has always been abundant. Your consciousness can shift to the abundant timeline, and as it does, your decisions, perceptions, and opportunities realign instantaneously. You are not chasing abundance. You are being abundance. The field mirrors the being, not the chase. As you refine this skill, you also cultivate what I call frequency sovereignty. Frequency sovereignty is the unshakable capacity to maintain coherence regardless of external chaos. Global uncertainty, interpersonal conflict, or financial fluctuations no longer dictate your internal state. The signal you broadcast is clear, consistent, and unwavering. You become immune to the unconscious frequencies of others because you maintain dominion over your own. This sovereignty transforms not just what you manifest but who you are. You stop being reactive to circumstance. You stop being defined by the old narratives of lack. You become a stabilizing force, a magnet for alignment, a living template of possibility. People sense this. They are drawn to your energy, even if they cannot articulate why. You are not trying to influence them. Your coherence itself acts as a permission field, inviting others to remember their own creative power. And now we approach perhaps the most profound insight. In backward manifestation, you are not attracting reality, you are remembering it. Everything you desire already exists in the infinite quantum field. Your task is not to summon it from nowhere. Your task is to inhabit it, recognize it, and align with it. This recognition transforms desire into remembrance. Wanting becomes knowing, seeking becomes inhabiting, effort becomes natural expression. Consider love, for example. When you seek love, you broadcast absence. When you embody love, you broadcast presence. The field does not respond to your longing. It responds to your being. When you radiate love as an intrinsic state rather than as a goal, relationships align, connections deepen, and resonance flows. This principle applies to every area of life: abundance, health, purpose, and beyond. The inner frequency precedes external manifestation. As this understanding matures, you notice another layer: the dissolution of urgency. When you live from completion, the timeline is already organized. There is no need to force, push, or manipulate. There is no longer the compulsion to hustle for results or verify progress. You operate from a state of effortless timing because the outcome is no longer distant. It is current. The present moment carries the weight of the already completed future. At the same time, surrender deepens. This is not surrender in the sense of giving up. It is surrender as in release. Release of control over the how, when, and specific unfolding. You maintain your chosen state of being, and the quantum field orchestrates the details. Surrender does not weaken you, it frees you. It allows the field to operate without interference, producing outcomes with efficiency and elegance far beyond linear planning. And as you live this way, your consciousness begins to ripple outward. Others are influenced not by your words but by your being. Your alignment creates subtle waves that encourage coherence in those around you. This is what I call the consciousness cascade. Every choice to embody, every moment of certainty, every act of quantum integrity amplifies potential in the collective field. The more you stabilize your frequency, the greater the field of possibility for everyone. Backward manifestation is not a technique. It is a lifestyle. It is a quantum principle applied consistently. It is the art of living from the end while navigating the middle. It is the fusion of certainty, embodiment, and surrender. It is not contingent on circumstances. It does not fluctuate with mood. It does not bend to fear. It is coherent, radiant. This is the point where most seekers experience a profound shift. They realize they were never manifesting incorrectly, they were manifesting partially. They were projecting signals of lack while hoping for abundance, asking while doubting, reaching while fearing. Backward manifestation corrects the trajectory. It allows the field to reflect your state of being with precision. It allows reality to bend to your consciousness rather than your consciousness bending to reality. Every quantum practitioner reaches a moment of reckoning. They see that the old paradigm struggle, effort, waiting is obsolete. They feel the elegance of alignment, the flow of certainty, the magnetism of coherence. They sense the infinite potential of timelines waiting for their conscious selection. And at that moment, manifestation ceases to be a process. It becomes a state of being. You do not manifest in the future. You manifest in the now from the already completed future that exists within you. As you inhabit this frequency consistently, the boundaries between internal and external reality begin to blur. You start perceiving reality not as a fixed stage where events occur independently of you, but as a dynamic canvas responding instantaneously to the vibrations you emit. Every thought, every feeling, every subtle orientation of attention acts like a brushstroke, coloring the fabric of existence with precision. This is the ultimate expression of backward manifestation. Consciousness as the active architect of experience, and experience as the mirror of consciousness. Notice how your perception transforms when you truly grasp this. Ordinary events acquire new significance. The mundane becomes a vector for alignment. A simple conversation carries layers of insight. A routine encounter opens a doorway to an entire timeline. You no longer encounter obstacles as problems. They are quantum cues, signals from the field guiding you toward coherence. The universe begins communicating in a language you innately understand. Resonance. This is why the mastery of backward manifestation demands presence. Presence is the conduit through which your chosen frequency interacts with the quantum field. Without it, alignment dissipates into distraction. Your awareness must inhabit each moment fully, breathing life into the thinel you have selected. When presence is coupled with embodiment, the field does not just respond, it organizes reality around your state of being with exquisite precision. A subtle yet profound shift occurs at this stage: the dissolution of effort as a metric of progress. In the backward paradigm, effort is not the engine of creation. It is a byproduct of misalignment. True creation is effortless because it arises from the state of being that already embodies the outcome. When you move in harmony with your frequency, actions flow naturally, appearing exactly when they are required, without strain or overthinking. The field supplies the right circumstances to match your state. The mind merely follows as an instrument of expression. One of the most overlooked aspects of this practice is what I call quantum attunement, the refinement of your inner resonance to a level of extreme clarity. Think of it as tuning a delicate instrument. Slight dissonance can scatter probability waves, creating friction between your inner state and external reality. As you attune, even the subtlest thoughts and emotions are calibrated to the frequency of your desired timeline. This ensures that every vibration you emit is coherent, magnifying the potency of your backward manifestation. Quantum attunement also reveals hidden layers of identity. As you stabilize in your chosen frequency, aspects of your consciousness that no longer serve your reality begin to surface. These are not flaws, they are remnants of old timelines, patterns of thought and emotion that have carried forward from previous states of being. Observing them without judgment allows them to dissolve naturally. The more transparent your internal landscape, the more seamless the flow of manifestation. Now let's explore the principle of retrocausal resonance. Unlike ordinary cause and effect thinking, retrocausal resonance recognizes that your future selected state reverberates backward, influencing the present. Every decision, every perception, every alignment with your completed outcome sends ripples across the fabric of your reality, collapsing probabilities to reflect the timeline you inhabit. The future, fully realized in consciousness, becomes the guiding force of the now. Consider health as an example. When your cells embody the state of vibrant vitality, when your nervous system resonates with the timeline of energetic well-being, the body responds as a perfect reflection. It is not a matter of pushing or controlling. It is a matter of inhabiting a frequency so completely that the physical form aligns naturally. Symptoms, limitations, and past imbalances begin to shift without conscious struggle, simply because the field reorganizes itself around the template of your health. The same principle applies to relationships. When you inhabit the timeline where connection is harmonious, mutual, and loving, your interactions begin reflecting that state instantaneously. You are not searching or convincing. You are broadcasting the signal of the reality you have chosen. The field mirrors that signal, drawing experiences, people, and synchronicities into alignment. Relationships cease to be an external challenge. They become a mirror of your internal coherence. This leads to another profound insight. In backward manifestation, emotions are not reactions to reality. They are instruments of creation. Joy, gratitude, love, and certainty are not mere responses. They are the frequencies that sculpt reality. When you stabilize these states as baseline experiences, the field organizes circumstances to match them. Emotional mastery, therefore, is not about control. It is about resonance. The more consistently you resonate with your chosen reality, the more effortless your alignment becomes. As your mastery deepens, you begin to perceive time itself as a pliable dimension. Linear sequencing of cause and effect no longer governs your experience. You realize that timelines exist simultaneously, and that by occupying the frequency of a completed outcome, you activate a cascade of events that appear instantaneous in physical perception. Moments of serendipity, rapid transformations, and seemingly miraculous coincidences are natural expressions of this principle. This awareness transforms decision-making. Every choice becomes a selection of reality rather than an attempt to manipulate circumstances. You no longer ask, how can I achieve this? Instead, you ask, which frequency aligns with my completed state? The answer emerges effortlessly, because your consciousness navigates directly to the reality that already exists. This is the art of quantum discernment, the ability to perceive which pathway resonates with the timeline of fulfillment. Backward manifestation also dissolves resistance. Resistance arises when the mind and emotion are out of alignment with the outcome. When you inhabit the frequency of completion, there is no opposition, only flow. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable vanish or transform into opportunities for coherent action. The universe does not conspire against you. It simply reflects dissonance until alignment is restored. Mastery is recognizing resistance as a signal to recalibrate rather than a problem to solve. The integration of these principles produces an inner state of effortless certainty. You operate from knowing rather than hoping, from embodying rather than aspiring, from being rather than seeking. This certainty is magnetic. It communicates directly with the quantum field, which is incapable of distinguishing between internal awareness and external manifestation. When your inner state is complete, the external world mirrors that completion with remarkable fidelity. A critical skill at this stage is subtlety of intention. The field responds not to loud demands, but to coherent, unwavering signals. Over-effort, attachment, and over-analysis scatter the frequency. Clarity, on the other hand, magnifies. Backward manifestation thrives on precision. The fewer contradictory vibrations you emit, the stronger the alignment becomes. Your consciousness becomes a focused beacon, broadcasting a single powerful reality. As you embody this, you begin noticing the quantum ripple effect in social and environmental contexts. Your alignment influences collective consciousness subtly, yet profoundly. The coherence you maintain radiates outward, inspiring resonance in those around you. This is not manipulation. It is the natural consequence of being a coherent node within the infinite web of consciousness. You are simultaneously individual and integral to the whole. With repeated practice, backward manifestation transitions from technique to identity. You are no longer performing a method. You are living a paradigm. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your attention, all exist in service of the timeline you inhabit. The field recognizes this consistency and mirrors it without delay. Manifestation becomes your baseline state, a natural expression of the consciousness you embody rather than a pursuit or aspiration. This stage reveals the true elegance of quantum living. Life is no longer fragmented into cause and effect sequences, struggle and reward, or effort and outcome. Every moment is a seamless expression of your chosen reality. The linear illusion of time dissolves into the awareness of simultaneous potential. Every interaction, every decision, every experience carries the imprint of the completed future you inhabit. And here is the final dimension to integrate: meta-alignment. Beyond individual outcomes, backward manifestation can be applied to holistic coherence across multiple domains simultaneously. Financial abundance, relationships, health, creativity, purpose. They are not separate targets. They are frequencies that can be harmonized. When alignment is achieved across domains, each area reinforces the others, creating exponential acceleration in the manifestation process. At this level, you operate as a living template for multidimensional coherence. The internal state dictates reality. Reality reflects the state, and the cycle reinforces itself infinitely. External circumstances cease to be a source of anxiety because they are understood as reflections of alignment rather than obstacles. The field is recognized as an intelligent, responsive partner, always mirroring your dominant frequency. At this stage, you begin to perceive the elegance of reality as a living hologram. Each moment contains infinite layers, and every experience is encoded with the potential of multiple outcomes simultaneously. Your consciousness acts as both decoder and director, selecting the precise pattern to collapse into your perception. You realize that reality is not happening to you, it is unfolding with you, co-created at every instant. This is the essence of backward manifestation. You are not reaching outward, you are tuning inward, and the universe aligns instantly with your chosen resonance. Notice how this shifts your relationship with challenge. When previously confronted with difficulty, your mind would race, imagining solutions, or spinning into anxiety. Now each challenge becomes an informational signal, a marker, indicating a misalignment in your frequency. You no longer resist what appears. You simply recalibrate your internal vibration until the external mirror shifts in response. The quantum field does not punish or reward. It merely reflects coherence and dissonance. Understanding this removes fear and struggle entirely. The next revelation comes with the awareness of micro-resonances. Every tiny thought, emotion, or belief carries vibrational weight. A single fleeting doubt can scatter probability waves and temporarily delay manifestation. Conversely, even brief moments of authentic joy or certainty amplify your alignment exponentially. This is why mastery of subtle internal states is as important as your conscious declaration. Quantum manifestation is not only about the grand gestures, it thrives in the minute, the invisible, the often overlooked vibrations of everyday awareness. Integration of micro-resonances also sharpens your intuitive guidance. As you stabilize in your chosen frequency, intuition becomes a reliable navigator. You begin noticing subtle cues, synchronicities, fleeting impressions, and hunches that point directly to the next steps aligned with your completed timeline. These insights are not random. They are the language of the quantum field, communicating the fastest route to coherence. When you follow them, the universe orchestrates events effortlessly, and what once seemed complex becomes simple, elegant, and instantaneous. At this level, your concept of effort undergoes another transformation. Effort is no longer the measure of progress. It is a signal of misalignment. When actions arise naturally from your state of being, they require minimal force, yet produce maximal effect. This is the paradox of backward manifestation. The less you strain, the more the field responds. Alignment becomes self-reinforcing, and every act of living from your frequency generates exponential returns. The more coherent you are, the more reality reshapes to reflect that coherence. Another crucial insight emerges when you recognize the fluidity of identity. Most people perceive identity as fixed, a set of roles, beliefs, and experiences accumulated over time. In backward manifestation, identity is a dynamic tool, a frequency you choose to inhabit moment by moment. The version of you who lives in abundance, love, health, or purpose is not a distant possibility. It is already encoded in your consciousness. By shifting identity consciously, you collapse the illusion of limitation and step fully into the reality you select. This fluidity extends to relationships and social dynamics. When you embody the frequency of your desired connections, the field organizes people, opportunities, and experiences around that vibration. You no longer chase relationships or seek validation. You radiate the energy that attracts congruent resonance. Others respond naturally to your coherence. Encounters that once felt forced or challenging become effortless reflections of the reality you inhabit. Magnetic alignment replaces struggle, and the quality of your connections mirrors the depth of your inner state. With repeated practice, you discover the principle of exponential resonance. Small, consistent shifts in internal frequency create ripple effects across multiple domains of life. One adjustment in your emotional state can influence financial flows, health, relationships, and creative output simultaneously. The universe amplifies coherence in ways that seem miraculous to linear perception. These outcomes are not random. They are precise reflections of your quantum alignment. At this stage, linear goal setting begins to feel unnecessary. Traditional methods, focused on step-by-step progression, operate on a forward-moving paradigm that backward manifestation transcends. When you occupy the completed state, every goal is inherently achieved in consciousness. Your attention is no longer divided between desire and fulfillment. You are fulfillment. The field responds instantly, orchestrating events to match your embedded reality. Goals become markers of alignment, rather than objectives to pursue. You also begin to perceive the hidden architecture of collective consciousness. Every choice you make, every frequency you embody, contributes to a larger energetic ecosystem. Backward manifestation is not purely individual. It resonates outward, subtly influencing the probability waves of those around you. Your alignment becomes a stabilizing force within this network, creating opportunities, insights, and shifts for others without direct effort. You begin to understand your presence as a node in an infinite lattice of consciousness. This awareness fosters a profound sense of responsibility, not in a burdensome way but as a recognition of influence. The way you inhabit reality matters. Your frequency is not contained within your personal bubble. It radiates, affecting interactions, environments, and even collective potential. This is the quantum ripple effect in action. Living from aligned consciousness creates waves of possibility that amplify beyond your immediate perception. You are simultaneously participant and catalyst, observer and orchestrator. At this stage, manifestation ceases to be about accumulation. Wealth, love, health, and purpose are no longer external prizes. They are extensions of your embodied frequency. You realize that external reality is a reflection, not a determinant. When you embody abundance, the field mirrors it instantly. When you embody love, the universe responds with love. The principle of reflection becomes unmistakably clear. The world is not separate from consciousness. It is consciousness expressed in physical form. Backward manifestation also redefines your experience of time and space. Events no longer unfold sequentially. They emerge simultaneously as the field reorganizes around your frequency. The distinction between past, present, and future becomes malleable. You perceive moments as nodes of potential, each capable of containing multiple realities. When aligned with your selected timeline, the field collapses these potentials into coherent experience, making what seemed impossible appear effortless and immediate. This fluidity of time has profound implications for personal transformation, healing, learning, and growth no longer require extended linear processes. When you occupy the frequency of a healed, wise, and empowered self, the field adjusts to manifest that state in your present reality. The future reaches backward, rearranging events, decisions, and insights to reflect your chosen outcome. This is the essence of retrocausal manifestation, consciousness as the orchestrator, not the reactor of reality. Another layer emerges as you explore multidimensional coherence. Each domain of your life, career, relationships, creativity, health, resonates as a distinct frequency. When these frequencies are harmonized internally, the field responds with exponential acceleration. The coherence of one domain supports the others, producing a cascading effect of alignment. Mastery is no longer measured by isolated outcomes, but by the ability to maintain systemic resonance across all areas of existence. At the heart of this practice lies the understanding that resistance is always internal. External circumstances are reflections, not causes. By maintaining alignment with your completed state, you neutralize dissonance before it manifests externally. Challenges that once appeared immutable dissolve as you embody coherence. The field is not a puzzle to solve. It is a responsive partner, reflecting your chosen vibration in every instant. Subtlety becomes your greatest tool. The field responds most powerfully to clarity, coherence, and unwavering frequency. Loud effort, attachment, or doubt scatters probability waves. Quiet, consistent alignment, however, produces outcomes of remarkable precision. Your consciousness becomes a beacon of intention, broadcasting a singular, powerful signal that the universe cannot ignore. Every moment of authenticity magnifies the manifestation exponentially. Finally, backward manifestation transforms self-perception. You are no longer a passive observer of life, waiting for events to occur. You are an active participant, the living embodiment of infinite possibility. Identity is fluid, experience is a mirror, and the quantum field is your collaborator. Every thought, every emotion, every subtle shift in attention is an act of creation. You are not reaching outward, you are aligning inward, and the universe mirrors your inner reality with fidelity that feels miraculous, yet is natural. As you dwell deeper in this state, the perception of limitations begins to dissolve entirely. What once seemed impossible, distant, or unattainable, becomes a trivial adjustment in consciousness. The field does not recognize difficulty, it only responds to vibration. Every problem is revealed to be a signal pointing toward a misalignment between your internal frequency and your selected reality. Once the misalignment is corrected, reality itself reconfigures to match the coherence you have embodied. You realize that what you thought were obstacles were simply invitations to deepen your awareness. The mastery of backward manifestation amplifies when you integrate the principle of quantum distinction. Each potential outcome exists simultaneously, yet your consciousness has the power to select with exquisite precision. This is not a process of chance, luck, or trial and error. It is deliberate navigation through an infinite landscape of possibilities. You are not chasing reality. You are pointing your awareness like a laser at the exact reality you wish to inhabit. And as soon as you stabilize in that chosen frequency, the field responds immediately, creating an alignment so exact it defies ordinary perception. You begin to notice how your inner narrative shapes the external mirror. Every thought carries vibrational weight, not merely as an idea but as a directive to the field. Thoughts steeped in certainty, joy, and completeness become direct signals that collapse probability waves in your favor. Thoughts steeped in doubt, fear, or lack do the opposite. They scatter potential and delay alignment. The subtle power of internal dialogue becomes apparent. What you choose to dwell upon internally dictates what the field presents externally. This is the unseen engine of quantum manifestation working silently behind the scenes of your perceived reality. A profound shift occurs as you recognize the role of embodiment over imagination. While visualization has value, it is the living, breathing embodiment of your selected reality that collapses the most significant probability waves. When your body, mind, and emotions resonate with the state of already having, the field has no choice but to mirror that coherence. Embodiment surpasses thought, surpasses effort, surpasses even intention. It is the language that the universe speaks fluently. The more fully you inhabit this state, the less external proof you require, and the more effortlessly your desired reality materializes. The next revelation is the realization of the vibrational ecosystem. Every interaction, every environment, every sensory input contributes to your energetic state. When aligned, your consciousness begins to harmonize the ecosystem around you. People act as mirrors, opportunities emerge as reflections, and events unfold in patterns of perfect resonance. This is not manipulation, it is pure alignment. The field organizes itself around the dominant frequency you broadcast, and everything external becomes a coherent extension of your internal state. The world becomes less a puzzle to solve, and more a symphony to conduct with awareness. As your mastery deepens, you encounter the phenomenon of temporal resonance. The linear sequence of cause and effect dissolves as you occupy the frequency of your completed reality. Past, present, and future begin to operate as a unified field, responsive to your consciousness in real time. The future reaches back to inform the present, shaping choices, insights, and perceptions to align seamlessly with the outcome you have already embodied. This is the quantum miracle of backward manifestation. The end informs the beginning, and the entirety of your timeline organizes itself around the completed state. At this stage, subtle energy practices become a natural extension of manifestation. Breath, posture, thought focus, and emotional tone all serve as direct inputs to the field. They are no longer arbitrary practices but precise tools for maintaining coherence. Even a single conscious breath aligned with the frequency of your desired reality sends ripples through probability waves, reinforcing the internal-external alignment. Your awareness becomes multidimensional, sensing shifts not only in physical reality but in the subtle energetic currents that precede material manifestation. This awareness also enhances synchronicity. As you stabilize your frequency, events, people, and insights begin to arrive in perfect timing. These are not coincidences but precise reflections of the vibrational state you maintain. A casual conversation, an unexpected email, or a seemingly random event becomes a deliberate piece of a larger puzzle. When observed from the perspective of backward manifestation, life reveals itself as a perfectly choreographed reflection of your internal coherence. You begin to trust the timing of everything implicitly because you are no longer separated from the unfolding of your reality. The fluidity of identity is another key revelation. Every quality you wish to embody, confidence, abundance, clarity, love, is not something you acquire externally. It is a frequency you step into. This is the essence of timeline navigation. You inhabit the state of being you desire, and the field collapses around it. Identity is not fixed. It is a tool, a selection mechanism. The version of you who already lives in your desired reality exists as a vibrational template, ready to be occupied. Choosing to step fully into that template is the act of conscious reality selection, and the field responds with seamless precision. At this point, the notion of struggle begins to feel archaic. Effort, as understood in the linear paradigm, is replaced by alignment. When every choice, thought, and emotion originates from your completed state, the universe orchestrates everything effortlessly. Resistance is no longer necessary. The field arranges circumstances to match the coherence you maintain. This is the paradoxical ease of backward manifestation. The less you try, the more is accomplished. Your life becomes a flowing expression of intentional frequency rather than a battlefield of effort and achievement. Another powerful layer emerges as you witness the interconnectedness of consciousness. Your state of being does not exist in isolation. It resonates within the collective quantum field. Every moment of alignment contributes to a greater tapestry of coherence. Others unconsciously mirror, respond, and resonate with your frequency. This is the subtle influence of the consciousness lattice. Personal embodiment affects collective resonance. Your alignment is not merely self-serving. It becomes a stabilizing influence, expanding the field of possibility for everyone in proximity to your energy. The principle of micro-resonances becomes increasingly evident. Tiny, seemingly insignificant shifts in thought or emotion can produce massive effects. A moment of gratitude, a spark of joy, or an authentic expression of love recalibrates probability waves far more powerfully than deliberate, effortful strategies. The field responds most strongly to authentic resonance because it recognizes coherence as the blueprint for reality. Every nuance of your internal state matters, and mastery lies in maintaining alignment consistently, even in the smallest moments. At this level, external validation loses significance. The need for proof, approval, or external confirmation diminishes completely because your reality is already confirmed internally. The field operates in response to your coherence, not external circumstances. When you embody certainty, the universe mirrors that state with absolute fidelity. This is the pinnacle of retrocausal manifestation. Internal state determines external reality with unerring precision. You no longer rely on outside factors to signal success because the signal originates within and is immutable. The interplay of emotion and consciousness becomes refined. Emotion is no longer reactionary. It is a direct dial for frequency adjustment. Joy, gratitude, and calm are not just pleasant experiences. They are instruments of coherence that collapse probability waves toward your chosen outcome. Conversely, anxiety, doubt, and resistance serve as indicators of misalignment. Mastery involves conscious modulation of emotion, recognizing its role as a quantum lever, capable of shifting the trajectory of your entire reality with subtlety and precision. Embodiment evolves into a state of continuous calibration. You are no longer toggling between states but inhabiting a dynamic flow of alignment. Consciousness becomes a living instrument, tuning moment to maintain coherence. Your awareness scans for dissonance and adjusts with agility, creating a state of constant resonance. This is not effortful, it is intuitive. You feel misalignment as immediately as you feel harmony, and adjustments occur naturally, without deliberation. The universe becomes a responsive mirror, reflecting the precision of your vibrational tuning in real time. At this stage, the external world ceases to dictate experience. Events unfold as reflections of internal coherence rather than determinants of possibility. Circumstances no longer hold power over your state of being, they respond to it. You inhabit the frequency first, and reality conforms second. This inversion of causality is the hallmark of backward manifestation. You do not chase, you embody. You do not react, you radiate. You are the axis around which reality organizes itself. Once you inhabit this continuous resonance, the perception of scarcity evaporates completely. Scarcity is revealed as a temporal illusion, a misinterpretation of linear time imposed upon a reality that is inherently infinite. You begin to experience the truth. Abundance is not a distant target. It is the natural condition of your consciousness. Every resource, every opportunity, every connection exists simultaneously in the quantum field, waiting for your alignment. When you occupy the frequency of abundance, the field organizes instantaneously, making previously impossible manifestations appear effortless, immediate, and inevitable. This understanding transforms your relationship with desire. Desire is no longer a force that propels you forward into an uncertain future. Instead, it becomes a compass, a signal pointing toward the realities you have already selected. You realize that wanting does not create reality, awareness does. Wanting is simply the recognition of potential. Alignment is the activation of existence. The moment you embody the state of already having, desire shifts from tension to joy, from striving to celebration. The universe responds not to your longing, but to your vibrational presence. Backward manifestation also redefines the concept of timing. The illusion of chronological sequence dissolves as you observe events through the lens of completed reality. You understand that outcomes are not constrained by conventional time, they are dictated by frequency. Your selected state reaches backward through the perceived past to orchestrate the present. Each moment becomes an opportunity for alignment rather than a race against time. The future is not something to wait for, it is a reality you step into now. Timing becomes irrelevant because you operate from the already completed timeline, and the field aligns with your state instantaneously. The subtlety of thought becomes a superpower. Inhabit a thought with total coherence, and the field bends to accommodate it. Fluctuate between doubts, and the trajectory of manifestation wavers. You recognize that the quantum field does not respond to mere intention. It responds to sustained vibrational clarity. Every internal contradiction, every momentary lapse in certainty, is reflected outward. Mastery, therefore, is not the accumulation of techniques, it is the cultivation of unwavering coherence. Your internal world becomes the blueprint, and external events are mere reflections of your chosen architecture. The deeper you immerse in this process, the more you perceive the elegance of alignment. External events no longer surprise or frustrate. They guide and confirm. Opportunities present themselves as natural extensions of your frequency. Relationships synchronize effortlessly. Resources flow with precision. Your life ceases to feel fragmented or random because it is not random. It is the manifestation of your internal state, broadcasting a coherent signature to the infinite field of possibility. Each synchronicity is not chance, it is evidence of your mastery in retrocausal reality creation. An advanced practitioner begins to notice the impact of subtle energetic vibrations on physical matter itself. The quality of presence, the alignment of posture, the tone of voice, even the rhythm of breath, all contribute to the quantum signature you emit. Matter in all its forms is malleable to consciousness. You begin to realize that even the minutiae of existence responds to coherence. Your body becomes not just a vessel, but a transmitter, broadcasting the frequency of your chosen reality into every cell, every field, every particle around you. You are, in essence, a living antenna of manifestation. At this stage, the boundaries between internal and external experience blur. You perceive life as a continuous feedback loop, where your state of being directs events, and events reinforce your state of being. Resistance diminishes because you see clearly that opposition is merely misalignment calling for adjustment. Every challenge becomes a mirror, an indicator that realignment is required. The mastery of backward manifestation lies in the ability to move fluidly, adjusting instantly, maintaining coherence through every shift. Life becomes less a series of problems and more a dynamic dance of alignment. The practice of temporal scanning becomes intuitive. You learn to sense the energetic signature of outcomes before they materialize in the external world. Opportunities are perceived as currents of probability that align with your frequency. You can feel the resonance of different choices, knowing which pathways will yield the greatest coherence. This is not prediction, it is alignment-based navigation. You choose consciously, knowing that every action, every word, every breath resonates through the quantum field to reinforce your selected timeline. Another essential layer of mastery is emotional calibration. Emotions are not reactions to circumstance, they are tools for tuning frequency. Joy, gratitude, and certainty amplify alignment. Doubt, worry, and fear create dissonance. You begin to observe emotions as energy vectors, capable of directing the flow of reality with precision. Emotional mastery is not suppression, it is conscious modulation. You maintain coherence not by denying feelings but by anchoring in the frequency of completion, allowing emotions to flow in a manner consistent with your selected reality. As this awareness deepens, the process of manifestation becomes instantaneous. The concept of waiting disappears. When you embody the completed state, reality has no choice but to mirror it. Every encounter, every event, every circumstance becomes an immediate reflection of your inner frequency. You are no longer negotiating with the universe, you are orchestrating it from within. Life itself becomes a living demonstration of the principles of quantum coherence, retrocausality, and frequency alignment. The dynamics of interaction with others also shift profoundly. People respond not only to your words but to your vibrational presence. Influence becomes subtle yet powerful. You do not need to persuade or convince, coherence naturally attracts and aligns. The field uses your vibrational signal as a reference, organizing events, opportunities, and relationships to match your internal state. The principle of resonance ensures that alignment radiates outward, affecting not only your immediate reality but also the broader collective field. Sovereignty of frequency emerges as a critical element. You understand that external chaos cannot penetrate a coherent state. You maintain alignment, regardless of environmental turbulence. Economic uncertainty, societal upheaval, or interpersonal conflict no longer dictate your vibrational state. You become the reference point, the anchor in a shifting sea of potentialities. This is the pinnacle of backward manifestation, total control over your frequency, and consequently, seamless orchestration of your reality. At this level, every moment becomes an opportunity for micro-alignment. Simple choices, breathing with awareness, grounding posture, embracing gratitude, carry profound consequences. Each small act reinforces the selected reality, ensuring that coherence remains dominant. This is the subtle art of quantum maintenance, sustaining alignment continuously, so that the field cannot present alternative realities. Mastery is not occasional, it is habitual, integrated, and unbroken. The understanding of interdimensional timing expands. You recognize that every event has multiple potential manifestations. By stabilizing your consciousness in the desired timeline, you collapse these potentials into a single coherent reality. Probability waves do not merely react to intention, they respond to embodiment. This principle, once internalized, revolutionizes decision-making. Choices become guided by resonance rather than logic, intuition rather than struggle. The universe bends to coherence, and alignment becomes effortless. The culmination of this process is the realization of continuous creation. Every breath, thought, emotion, and action contributes to ongoing manifestation. There is no separation between creating and living. Your state of being is the creative engine. Your reality is the output. Time, circumstance, and external forces are secondary. They are reflections of vibrational coherence. The moment you fully internalize this, life becomes a flowing expression of deliberate, conscious, and effortless creation. At this point, the internal landscape transforms. Mind, body, and spirit operate as a unified instrument of manifestation. Thoughts are coherent. Emotions are calibrated. Actions flow naturally from aligned consciousness. You no longer chase, you radiate. You no longer seek. You embody. You no longer wait. You exist in the completed state. And reality mirrors this with absolute precision. The quantum field becomes an extension of your awareness, responding instantly and flawlessly to every nuance of your frequency. As you stabilize in this field of coherent creation, you begin to notice the profound subtleties of microsignals from the quantum realm. Small shifts in perception, fleeting intuitions, or sudden clarity are no longer random flashes. They are the universe whispering the exact sequence required to maintain alignment. You learn to respond not with effort, but with attunement. Every microsignal becomes an opportunity to reinforce your selected timeline, an instant calibration to keep your frequency unbroken. The more you attune, the more the field begins to operate like an extension of your own consciousness, a mirror reflecting your inner state with exquisite fidelity. Backward manifestation reveals the hidden mechanics of synchronicity. Synchronicity is not coincidence. It is the observable signature of alignment in action. Events, encounters, and opportunities converge not by chance but because your frequency calls them forward. People appear precisely when needed. Information arrives exactly when it supports your trajectory, and resources flow as if prearranged. The mastery of this principle is not prediction. It is recognition. You see the inevitability in every converging moment and move through life with effortless grace, knowing the field is already orchestrating outcomes in your favor. The illusion of effort dissolves entirely. When your consciousness occupies the completed state, external action becomes spontaneous and organic rather than forced or reactive. You act not to achieve, but because your reality is already realized, and your body and mind naturally reflect that state. Effort transforms into effortless action. Persistence becomes unnecessary. Struggle disappears, replaced by the unbroken stream of alignment. This is the essence of living from the endpoint. Everything you desire emerges naturally because you already exist within its frequency. This alignment extends to the language you use internally and externally. Words are energy vectors that shape the field. When your inner dialogue matches your chosen reality, it reinforces coherence. Phrases like "I am achieving" or "I will" are replaced by the present state resonance of "I am," and it is complete. The moment your language reflects the already manifested state, the field responds with immediate recalibration. Even subtle shifts in phrasing, tone, and mental imagery alter the vibrational signature you emit. Your mind becomes a precision instrument, capable of collapsing infinite potentials into the exact reality you inhabit. The understanding of identity deepens. You realize that who you are now is not defined by external circumstances, but by your frequency. Identity is no longer a reaction to conditions or social constructs. It is a deliberate selection of vibrational state. You inhabit the consciousness of the version of you that has already realized the reality you desire. Every thought, every belief, every subtle emotional tone aligns with this identity. The old self, the one bound by limitation, doubt, or scarcity, becomes an echo of the past, irrelevant to the timeline you now occupy. Time, as you once knew it, becomes malleable. The linear progression of cause and effect is revealed as an emergent illusion. Past, present, and future collapse into a continuous now where your consciousness is free to interact with any potential moment. You begin to operate in what could be called quantum simultaneity, where cause is simultaneous with effect, and the outcome directs the present moment retroactively. This understanding shifts everything. Healing, abundance, relationships, and creativity can manifest instantaneously when your consciousness is coherent with the selected reality. The subtle art of energy economy emerges. Energy is no longer expended in chasing outcomes, suppressing doubt, or resisting resistance. It is conserved, focused, and amplified within the resonance of your chosen timeline. Every thought is deliberate. Every emotion is calibrated. This economy of energy magnifies your influence on the quantum field exponentially. What previously required months or years of effort can now materialize in days or hours, not because the universe is bending to you, but because you have ceased bending away from your own aligned state. Your relationship to challenges transforms completely. Situations that once generated stress or urgency now serve as indicators of alignment shifts. Rather than reacting, you observe, recalibrate, and maintain coherence. The field does not test you. It simply reflects the energetic clarity of your state. By remaining anchored in the completed reality, external perturbations lose their power. The world may appear chaotic to an observer, but to you, every event is a note in a symphony, perfectly orchestrated to mirror your vibrational alignment. Backward manifestation amplifies the role of imagination, but not in the conventional sense of wishing or visualizing. Imagination becomes a quantum tool, a mechanism for experiencing your desired state fully in consciousness before it appears in matter. You inhabit your reality as if it is already here. The body posture, the emotional tone, the subtle gestures of identity all are lived with precision. Imagination ceases to be fantasy. It becomes rehearsal in the quantum field, collapsing probability waves into the inevitable outcome that your consciousness has selected. As mastery deepens, the distinction between doing and being dissolves. Action is no longer separate from state. It is a natural extension of coherence. You act, not to produce results, but because the universe is already manifesting them through you. Each interaction, each decision, each motion becomes a direct expression of your selected reality. In this state, life itself becomes a fluid expression of your consciousness, a living demonstration of quantum principles in motion. The dynamics of attraction become transparent. Attraction is not about effort or persuasion, it is resonance. People, circumstances, and opportunities converge around your vibrational signature. Your inner state dictates the external composition of your world. When you stabilize in the frequency of love, abundance, or creative power, the field mirrors this with exactitude. You realize that all influence is derived from alignment, not force. Magnetic coherence is the natural result of complete vibrational sovereignty. At this level, consciousness becomes multidimensional. You perceive the simultaneous existence of multiple realities and navigate between them effortlessly. You can sense the signature of different timelines, choosing to inhabit the one that perfectly aligns with your intention. The ability to traverse probabilities consciously is not learned through effort. It is developed through persistent coherence and embodiment. You are not bound by one trajectory, you are a navigator of infinite potentials, selecting and sustaining the reality that resonates with your highest truth. The subtle mastery of frequency. Sovereignty extends into the collective field. Your alignment radiates outward, influencing the probabilities available to others. This is not manipulation, it is natural resonance. Others mirror the clarity, confidence, and coherence you maintain. Your frequency acts as a reference for their possibilities, expanding the collective field of accessible realities. In this way, backward manifestation is simultaneously personal and collective. Your mastery elevates not only your own reality but the resonance of the environment around you. The understanding of completion deepens. Completion is not an endpoint but a continuous state. You do not wait for conditions to align. You embody the fulfilled state, and the field orchestrates circumstances accordingly. Every decision, every breath, every thought reinforces the completion that already exists in the quantum domain. This ongoing state of completion transforms your internal experience into an uninterrupted flow of power, creativity, and ease. As you move deeper into this understanding, you begin to recognize that alignment is not a state to achieve, it is your inherent condition. The quantum field is not external, it is an extension of your consciousness. Your state of being is the generator, and reality is the broadcast. Every sensation, every thought, every moment of presence sends a signal to the infinite possibilities, collapsing potentials into the specific reality you are embodying. There is no trying, no working toward, only the effortless unfolding of what is already complete. The clarity that emerges from this recognition is profound. You see that limitation exists only as perception, only as a signal of misalignment. Scarcity is simply a mismatch in frequency. Lack is nothing more than a vibration that is yet to be replaced by coherence. As you inhabit the consciousness of the fulfilled, the abundant, the loved, the healthy, The purpose-driven. These limitations dissolve naturally. You do not chase the change. You step into it. Your energy itself becomes the medium through which manifestation occurs. Backward manifestation teaches that influence is never forced. Persuasion is replaced by resonance. Your presence alone becomes sufficient to guide reality. The people you interact with respond to the vibrational clarity you maintain. Opportunities are attracted, not sought. Resources flow, not demanded. Circumstances arrange themselves with precision, reflecting the frequency of your chosen reality. Every external event becomes a reflection of the internal state. Perfectly synchronized, perfectly coherent. The sophistication of quantum consciousness emerges as you refine your internal dialogue. Words, thoughts, and subtle judgments are no longer unconscious habits, they are tools of creation. Phrases such as "I hope" or "I will" are replaced by the knowing of "it is done" and "I am this now." Even silent thoughts carry resonance. The field perceives the distinction between yearning and embodiment. The subtlety of this mastery cannot be overstated. Reality responds to the vibrational truth of your being, not to effort, desire, or affirmation alone. This practice develops your capacity for internal sovereignty. You no longer rely on external validation or circumstances to dictate your state. Chaos in the environment cannot disturb your coherence. Scarcity in the world cannot diminish your abundance. Frequency sovereignty establishes a protective field around your consciousness, shielding it from energetic noise while amplifying your chosen resonance. This is the foundation of effortless backward manifestation, unbroken alignment in the face of any external appearance. Every day, every moment, you are training your consciousness to navigate possibilities rather than react to probabilities. The art of conscious selection becomes intuitive. You perceive multiple realities simultaneously, and choose the one that aligns with your highest expression. Choices are no longer reactive, they are manifestations of the reality you have already embodied. Each decision reinforces coherence, amplifies resonance, and accelerates the collapse of probability waves toward the outcome that you inhabit. As you practice this consistently, your perception of time transforms completely. Linear sequences fade. Past failures no longer hold sway. Future desires no longer dictate effort. The present becomes fluid, elastic, and responsive to your frequency. You are no longer bound to waiting or working toward. The moment you inhabit completion, the field responds immediately. Your reality begins to reflect the timeline where your desired outcomes are already realized. Time bends around your consciousness, accelerating manifestation effortlessly. The culmination of backward manifestation is the state of continuous coherence. You no longer oscillate between wanting and having, between doubt and certainty. Your consciousness is anchored in the reality that has already been selected. This is not a fleeting experience. It is sustained. Your energy broadcasts with consistency, signaling to the quantum field that there is no contradiction, no ambiguity. The field in perfect reflection collapses possibilities seamlessly into your lived experience. At this level, the influence you exert is both personal and collective. Every coherent broadcast from your consciousness ripples outward, affecting the probabilities of those around you. This is not control. It is resonance. Your clarity becomes a reference point for collective alignment. Others may not consciously perceive what is occurring, but their experiences shift in response to the vibrational harmony you maintain. Each act of embodiment contributes to a broader awakening of consciousness, accelerating the emergence of coherence across the collective field. Backward manifestation also dissolves the illusion of struggle. There is no longer a need to fight, strive, or persuade. The universe does not resist. It mirrors. When your state of being is fully coherent with your selected reality, every challenge, every obstacle, every seeming delay becomes irrelevant. Circumstances are not barriers, they are simply reflections of prior states of being. Change the state, and the reflection shifts instantly. Mastery is not in managing circumstances. Mastery is in maintaining alignment, unshakable and precise. Your inner world becomes the ultimate playground. Emotions, thoughts, and sensations are instruments for calibration, not signs of inadequacy. Joy, gratitude, and fulfillment are not contingent. They are default states, arising naturally from the consciousness you inhabit. This is the subtle yet profound secret of backward manifestation. The inner state is the primary reality, and the external world is its echo. The entire universe becomes a mirror, effortlessly confirming your coherence at every turn. As your embodiment deepens, you recognize the elegance of quantum surrender. You no longer resist the unknown or attempt to micromanage outcomes. Instead, you allow the field to orchestrate circumstances with perfect intelligence. Surrender is not passivity. It is trust rooted in absolute alignment. Once your chosen reality is embodied, the how and when are naturally managed by the field. Your role is complete, and the universe in perfect reflection delivers with precision. In this state, manifestation is effortless, instantaneous, and inevitable. Desire is replaced by remembrance. Seeking is replaced by knowing. Hope is replaced by certainty. You are no longer reaching toward a future. You are stepping backward into the reality that already exists in the infinite quantum field. Your consciousness is both the selection mechanism and the receiver, collapsing probabilities into your lived experience with absolute fidelity. Finally, as your mastery reaches completion, you realize something revolutionary. You are not separate from the field, nor from the outcomes you seek. You are the creative force itself, temporarily operating through the form of human consciousness. Manifestation is not an external process. It is self-recognition. Everything you desire is a reflection of what you already are, waiting for awareness to inhabit it fully. Backward manifestation is not just a method, it is a revelation. You are whole, complete, and unlimited, and your reality has always been ready for your embodiment. Now, if this frequency of understanding resonates with you, if you feel the subtle shift in your consciousness, I invite you to remain in this quantum flow. Subscribe to Quantum Fields, not merely for content, but to stay aligned with this frequency of mastery. Become part of a community that moves effortlessly through realities, navigating timelines consciously, embodying coherence, and amplifying the field of possibilities for themselves and others. By subscribing, you anchor this understanding deeper into your consciousness and maintain a connection with the ongoing evolution of quantum awareness. Remember, backward manifestation is not about learning, accumulating techniques, or achieving externally. It is about being in coherence, being in certainty, being the living embodiment of the reality that has already been selected. Every breath, every thought, every interaction becomes an expression of this understanding. And as you live from this state, the universe mirrors you perfectly. Abundance is not sought, it is experienced. Love is not requested, it is embodied. Health, creativity, purpose, freedom, all arise as natural consequences of the frequency you maintain. Let this be your final reflection as you integrate the full spectrum of backward manifestation. You are the consciousness that selects reality. The quantum field is your mirror. Every potential exists simultaneously. Every timeline is accessible. Your coherence determines your experience. Your embodiment collapses possibilities into certainty. Your alignment radiates outward, influencing the collective. You are not waiting for change. You are the change. You are not creating something new. You are remembering what has always been. Your journey begins now, not tomorrow, not when conditions are right. Now, step fully into your chosen reality, embody it completely, and witness the effortless unfolding of the quantum field around you. Live from the end, inhabit completion, radiate coherence, and allow the universe to reflect the full magnificence of your aligned state. Welcome to backward manifestation. Welcome to your natural state of limitless creation. Welcome to Quantum Field.